Hey, what up ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot right here. My throat's still not 100%, but I really wanted to do this video for you guys because I know you guys have been asking about new Terminid meta loadouts, and I do have one. This loadout is what I've been testing on the past two streams. Excuse me, so coughing as you can see. It is Helldive tested. Tested at difficulty 9, for those of you that are unsure what Helldive means. It's Helldive tested, and it has performed beautifully. Your role in the team is actually to clear off heavy targets mostly, but you can still horde clear. This loadout has almost everything built in. So get ready, and I'll be going through it with you. Now, there are two streams linked in the description of this video if you want to see the gameplay for this build. This video is just to talk about all the stuff in the build and give you an idea of what's inside it. Alright? So let's get started. Okay, apologies because I'm still sucking on a lozenge for my throat. But anyway, I'm going to go through the primary, secondary, and grenade weapon used in this loadout. I'll tell you my ideal choices and explain any alternatives you might have. For the primary weapon, the ideal choice is the Arc 12 Blitzer. This thing is the king of kings right now. Unlimited ammo, and it got a 50% buff to its fire rate in the last patch, going from a fire rate of 30 up to 45. This is really good when you test it in the field. It's so good at killing everything so long as the target is within 28 meters. The range limit on this weapon is pretty short. 28 meters seems to be the upper limit, and although it won't arc to different targets, it fires a spread of electricity that can hit multiple targets. I've killed 4 or 5 in one go, but most often you'll be hitting 1 or 2. Still, very efficient because of the fire rate. You don't have to charge it up. You don't have to worry about it misfiring like the arc thrower. So while it might kill hordes a little less, it's still fantastic. And since this is in the primary weapon slot, all right, my mouth got garbled there. I'm so sorry, but since this is in the primary weapon slot, it doesn't take up a support weapon. So your support weapon can be suited for heavy targets. This will clear off hordes all by itself. Okay, so this is my choice. Other alternatives are the Eruptor. The Eruptor is still very good, but be warned, the lower number of magazines going from 12 to 6 may mean that you may run out of ammo, and also you may kill yourself with this weapon, so be careful. The Plasma Punisher is really good, but it cannot be used with a shield generator right now. So although we don't use the shield generator in this loadout, be wary because if hunters leap on you, you can't use this to get them off. Alright? So yeah, Plasma Punisher is a strong choice, but not recommended for this loadout. It is still one of the top primary choices though. Other than that, you can use the Breaker Incendiary, which is still very strong. Oops, sorry. The Breaker Incendiary, which is still very strong. The fire damage nerf didn't really affect this much. The direct damage is still there, but the fire DOT is a lot less than it was before. So you may struggle against things like spewers a little bit. Alright? Last but not least, the Slugger bears an honorable mention as well because this thing is really good. And because it's medium armor penetrating, it's good for spewers as well, which is one of the biggest concerns you may have in this game. Alright? These are the top choices right now. But if you've got other choices you want to use, as long as you're effectively killing all targets, go for it. Alright? Some people still like the sickle, etc., etc. It's up to you. Now, moving on to your secondary, I personally favor the grenade pistol. This gives me a way of closing bug holes, and it's also really good for, let's say you strip off the leg armor of a charger with the Quasar, one grenade pistol shot will kill it. Okay? So this is why I really like this pistol. It's very useful for a lot of things and does decent damage as well. Other mentions, Redeemer, excuse me, Senator. All of these are very, very good choices, okay? But ideally, I like the grenade pistol. For the grenade, we are currently using the impact grenade. The stun grenade is also still used. Either one of these are the top choices. Incendiary grenade, however, no longer a top choice. Unfortunately, this grenade has fallen out of favor because the nerf to fire damage, the 15% nerf, may not have seemed like a lot, but it's severely weakened the DOT of fire, to the point that incendiary grenades no longer are absolute murder devices against the Terminids. You may actually struggle to kill some Terminids, especially if they don't stay in the fire for long enough. So for that reason, the stun and the impact grenades are the two choices for your grenades. Okay? Moving on to armor. Okay, what you guys need to understand about armor is that this is really your choice. A lot of this stuff here is based on preferences. Okay? So if it is your preference to use a particular type of armor, go ahead and use it. The most important thing is, does this help your survival? Okay? We have certain recommendations that we will make, but you don't necessarily have to follow them. Ideally, choose armor that helps you survive the best against Terminids. Okay? Let's go through it. For my armor, I tend to pick the Demolition Specialist from the Democratic Detonation Warbond. This one comes with the Engineering Kit passive, giving me 30% reduced recoil when crouching or prone, which is very useful for the Quasar and EAT. And it increases the initial inventory and holding capacity of grenades by 2. So instead of having 4 grenades, you've got 6. This is so helpful because the impact grenades are designed for killing spewers, and there are a lot of spewers on difficulty 9. Maybe not on difficulty 7 and 8, but since we test all our loadouts in accordance with difficulty 9, this is what is most helpful. In terms of armor rating, speed, stamina regen, this thing has a slightly different distribution to the regular light armor, which you'll see here. The regular light armor has an armor rating of 50. This one has 64. So you might not think it's much, but it genuinely does help a lot. So I really like the Demolition Specialist for this reason. The speed difference doesn't really create too much of a problem in the field, but the armor rating really does help a lot. So I use this. Other choices you may make are pretty much any of the stim choices with medium armor. This is pretty popular, but one thing I do have to say is that I find I cannot survive with speed of 500. Evading attacks is so much more important to me. So some people like to use the Trench Paramedic as well, but really it's down to you and your choice. Like if you feel that you can survive with whatever armor you're wearing, go for it. I cannot survive without light armor. So against Terminids, this is what I use. All right? It's my recommendation. Helmet, I'm using the pre-order helmet. And for the cape, I'm using the same one for Democratic Detonation. Capes and helmets are for aesthetics only, and you don't need to worry about it. Now, one of the questions that I'm always asked is, can I use heavy armor? Go ahead if you really think you can survive. It's really your choice, okay? Don't worry about what other people say. Choose what helps you survive, and of course, that has a perk that works for you. Now, let's talk about stratagems. Okay, when it comes to stratagems for this loadout, what you need to understand is that there's stuff that's good, stuff that's not so good, but I'm not gonna, like in usual videos, I always give you guys a bunch of options for each. That's not gonna happen here because this particular loadout is very, very focused on doing what it's intended to do, i.e. it's got horde clear on the primary weapon. The stratagems are focused on dealing with heavy targets. So, let me walk you through it. Okay, the first and most important stratagem you're gonna need is the Quasar. After the huge nerf to the Quasar, which is now its cooldown went from 10 seconds to 15 seconds, right? The Quasar is still one of the best choices. Why? It does the same damage as the Recoilless, same damage as the EAT, but it reloads while in your pocket. So you can fire it, you don't have to have it out, and you don't have to manually reload it, but you fire it, you can switch to another weapon, do something else, and come back 15 seconds later and your Quasar is ready to go. However, 15 seconds is a long time in an intense battlefield. So how do you supplement the Quasar? Previously, you could just use it, wait 10 seconds, do something else, and use it again. Now, not so easy to do that, right? Okay, there's a way to supplement this. And that is by bringing along the expendable anti-tank. If you add the expendable anti-tank into your loadout, what will happen is that you have this interesting combination where you fire the Quasar, you have 2 expendable anti-tanks, and then you can fire the Quasar again. All right, your teammates can also pick up your expendables if necessary and use them as needed. So this gives your team a lot of tactical flexibility, and it is what you will see demonstrated in all of the missions that we did. It's just so good. There is no reason not to have the expendable anti-tanks to pair with the Quasar. It really helps finish off a lot of targets. So don't hesitate to use this, okay? It can even be used on eradicate missions where, let's say you pick up an expendable anti-tank, blast a charger, kill some other stuff, come around, pick up your Quasar, it's ready to go again. That's the kind of strategy that you can utilize, you see, because the Quasar cools down whether it's on the ground, in your pocket, doesn't really matter. that's what makes it so good, and that's what made it so good and why it's such a good choice, because you really don't want to crouch down in the middle of an eradicate and start reloading the recoilless. All right, lots of people will talk a lot of crap about this on the internet, but at the end of the day, when you're swarmed and you're dead. You have no time to sit down and reload. All right, this prevents all those problems. Fire and forget. Okay, now 2 more stratagem slots, right? Okay, you might think it's crazy to have a 3rd blue stratagem, but yes, you should. The Guard Dog Rover. This has been a little bit controversial lately because this one has had nerfs, or so they say on the Discord. And the patch notes said a 30%, at the time that I read the patch notes, they said a 30% nerf to the normal Guard Dog, which is the one that is here. That is the AXAR-23, but the Rover is actually the one with the nerf, the AX Last 5, so this one's a bit of a weird one. I'm not actually sure what the story is, but basically, the Rover had its damage reduced. However, there is currently a bug with the Rover whereby it does not need to go back into your backpack. It'll just keep firing and firing and firing and firing and firing, which is really, really excellent. So I say that until they remove that bug, please get yourself a Rover. It is a worthwhile choice as your backpack slot. I've been using it on difficulty 9, no troubles whatsoever. It really helps you rack up the kill count too. Okay? Alright, your last spot is a flexible slot. But in general, I will show you what I run. I tend to use an Eagle Stratagem for the last slot. It just matters which Eagle Stratagem I use. For the Termicide missions, or for Eradicate missions, I tend to go with a 500 kilogram bomb. This is excellent for clearing a Bile Titan if you can get it right underneath it. And so on smaller missions like the Eradicate and the Termicide mission, this is my lifesaver. Alright? For longer missions, such as dealing with the egg clusters or anything else, I tend to go with the Eagle Cluster Bomb. This supplements the horde clear capabilities, especially during a bug breach, and it is so useful in the field. This is what I like, because my entire loadout is already designed for anti-heavy combat. So the Eagle Cluster Bomb helps me maintain that horde clear, and I mean, yes, the Blitzer can do it, but when you're swarmed on all sides, the Cluster Bomb with 5 uses is pretty darn useful. Alright? I use 2 or 3 per bug breach, and life is swimmingly good. Now, the other thing is that during Blitz missions, I tend to bring the Eagle Airstrike. This is good for closing bug holes and very, very useful. I love the Eagle Airstrike because it's really, really good and really, really simple to use. It's got 3 uses. Use it all the time in Blitz. You can clear out bug holes pretty fast. And since you don't have a lot of time, this is a good time saver. Alright? So, regular missions or missions with plenty of space, I go for Cluster Bomb. Small missions or missions that are tightly spaced, I use the 500 kilogram. And for Blitz exclusively, we have to destroy bug holes, I bring the Eagle Airstrike. Alright? Those are my stratagem choices. If you have your own idea of stratagem choices, or you got your own stuff that you want to bring it along. There's no right and wrong answer, and that's something that I hope everybody will understand. You have to pick what helps you do the mission. Okay? So pick accordingly and choose what helps you. This is what helps me, but again, your choice. Okay? Alright. Great. Now that we've established that, okay, summary section time. Now, here's a summary of the loadout that I just discussed. Okay? Here is what we use. For your booster slot, I mean, whatever you want to choose. I'm always the localization confusion guy, but I mean, adjust as your team needs, yeah? Okay. Quasar, EAT, Rover. These are the 3 main things that you're going to need. This is what I mentioned earlier, and this is what I always bring. Then for your 4th, like for example, this mission is a Termicide, turning off the Termicide mission. So it's a small map where I'll be completing the objective, so I go with my 500 kilogram bomb. Okay? Equipment, as I've shown before, Blitzer, Grenade Pistol, Impact Grenade, Demolition Specialist, and this is what I would bring. This is probably what you'll see on the streams as well, and this is a summary of the loadout. Why is this loadout good? Okay, reminder. Your Quasar and EATs will help you deal with heavy targets like Bile Titans, Chargers, all that kind of stuff. Your Rover will help you, together with your Blitzer, to deal with horde enemies. And your final stratagem is to supplement whatever you feel weakest at. For example, if in a mission you find that you need more horde clear, Cluster Bomb is your friend. If you find that you need more heavy clear, You've got Eco Rocket Pods, Rail Cannon Strike. You can use whatever you want in the 4th slot and still be highly effective. Don't forget, your teammates can pick up EATs as well. Your teammates can even pick up your Quasar if you happen to be using an EAT at the time, and they can use it and it will go on cooldown. When you pick it back up, it'll still be already cooling. So this is why this loadout is highly flexible, good for dealing with heavy targets, and it still has enough horde clear to be competitive at difficulty 9. Alright? Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. May's top supporters are being decided during this first week, so if you guys want shoutouts and videos and stuff, just make sure you're one of May's top supporters and you'll be in my list and getting thanked every video. But for now, thank you to our OnlyFans, Kyle and Nisk, and thank you to Arcane Silver as well as Death Dawning 982 for being at plus ultra level. Alright? I appreciate all of you. You guys are amazing, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Apologies about my throat again, and if you guys need a reference on how this build is played, stream links in the description. Alright? The stream shows all the gameplay as well as all the shenanigans we get up to. Alright? Thank you very much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good one now. Bye-bye.